We are now live streaming. So good morning, One Heart, One Mind. And Richard is going to, I don't remember which song we're going to do to kick off.
God is my source. That's what you sent me. God is my source.
I love this song.
So I don't know if everyone knows the words, but we've done this a few thousand times probably. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love, joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
Woot woot, we're a cappella. Hey, do one musical verse. You don't even have to sing. You know what I mean? Are you frozen, Richard? No, you're not.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Can you just do one instrumental? Because I love it. We won't.
Sure.
We'll just listen to you. Just a verse or so.
Like someone in love.
Yeah, you are so uber talented. I just wanted to hear you tinkle the ivories, as they say.
I'll be doing that for the second song, a little bit, but I gotta be careful because Zoom gets confused with two different immediate sources. So that's why I'm doing the experiment. But everybody heard the first part, right? I heard the
yeah, it was
a
great.
cappella.
Yeah, for sure. We heard it. It was great. Thank you, Richard.
Absolutely.
And I am going to introduce our practitioner of the day, Rob McGregor. Do you know that you're the practitioner of the day?
I do, wonder of wonders. And so, and I believe that, let's see what we got here. There we go. I'm suspecting that Michelle is going to be talking about motherhood, it being the topic of the day. The CSL ordained topic is, let's see what we got here. We may have, there we go, unlearning fear and darkness. And in a universe where purportedly it's 100% God and 100% good, one wonders why there's fear and darkness. And the answer's got to be that fear and darkness are good. Now, you are a spiritual being, and that means you've got time on your hands. Now, exactly how much time have you got on your hands? You got lots and lots and lots of time on your hands. And so how are you going to fill up that time? We do this in my world by playing the physical universe game. And in the physical universe game, we overcome obstacles. That's a pretty satisfying way to spend our time. Ministers will tell you that there are lots and lots of spiritual laws. To my way of thinking, there's really only one significant spiritual law, and that one is, it is done unto you as you believe. Or put another way, what do you think about comes about. Positive thinking results in positive life developments, and negative thinking results in negative life developments. So another way of putting that is positive thinking results in solutions to obstacles, and negative thinking results in more and more formidable obstacles. Both are good, but both are good in moderation. So how do you know it's time to unlearn fear and darkness? It comes down to the balance of between these two. Are your obstacles overwhelming? Or another way to look at it is your life becoming less fun? And if it is less fun, that means that everything's getting out of balance, and it's time to get it back into balance. Now, I recommend that you utilize the most powerful phrase ever spoken on planet Earth, and that phrase is, I am. Okay, and the way I use this is maybe I'll get some tiny inkling of fear. Maybe I'll get some sensation in my body someplace, and I'll start wondering, oh, wonder if there goes my appendix or something like that, fear thought. And so I will instantly get a sinking feeling in my stomach. That is the telltale sign that fear is going on. It'll be slight, but it'll be there. I will feel a little less good as a result of that thought. And so I will utilize the phrase, I am healthy. 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 How many times do I do that? Till the sinking feeling in my stomach goes away. And there are various versions of that. I might get see something on the horizon that suddenly I'm concerned about my financial well-being, say, and I will utilize the phrase, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. And that until I feel good again. Works every time. And there's various versions. I am loved, I am loving, I am growing, I'm young, I am happy. That's my favorite. Because I am happy. You don't have to wait for subjective mind to mess around and produce a manifestation or a demonstration. It gives you instant gratification, and I'm all over that. So I invite you to sit back and relax into the goodness of God, into the warmth and the love of God that I can feel, and I can feel it right now. And as I speak my word for myself in the first person, I know that I am speaking this for all of us, for we are one. We are all one. There is only one. And I know right now that this assembly of people is perfect, and it is absolutely blessed. For we have come together to know the truth, to experience new learning and new possibilities and new options for a better life. I am feeling so good about this. I am so happy that we are here, and we are one, and we are who we are, and we are developing the way we are. Thank you, God, for this wonderful experience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I release my word to the universe, and together we say, and so it is. Now I'm going to try to click. There we go. And I'm pretty certain that Michelle has got my other obligation, which is the whatever it is for the month coming up. That looks good to me. And if you feel so inclined to repeat this with me, you are welcome to. I am grateful that every day is a fresh new start. Today, I release any thoughts of blame or judgment against myself or others. I express the good of God. I live in peace, ease, and grace, and the laughter of love. And so it is.
Oh, I gotta tell you, that was extremely powerful, Rob, and I am grateful. That was amazing. Oh, wow. My camera wants to fall down. There we go. Oh, that was great. I can't tell you how much that meant to me. So great. Thank you for that. Wonderful. And Richard, it's your turn, sweetheart.
Yeah, we were talking about what song to put in here. And, thinking about this particular song by the Beatles, it's just amazing. I think they were the best, pop / rock singers ever. There is so much good stuff, so deep. Anyway, it's called In My Life. John and Paul, bless them. And whether we're young or old, there are so many magic moments, so many things that we look back on, and it's just it's kind of dreamy looking back 30 or 40 or 50 years, 60 years, whatever it is, 70 years. The magic of it, and that from the distant past to the present, love has been at the center of so much. It's enriched our lives. Our mothers have enriched our lives, expanded our creativity. Great show, always in my life. Now I'm going to play some piano very lightly, and let's see what happens. There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places had their moments with mothers and friends. I still can't recall. Some are dead and some are living in my life. I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before, I know I'll often stop and think about them in my life. I love you more. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them in my life. I love you more. Here's to Mom. Did you hear it? Did you hear it?
Oh, yeah, that was great.
All right, thank you.
Fine. It was lovely. That is one of my favorite songs, actually. I have a poster that has some of the lyrics of that song on my wall. I love it.
It's deep. It's deep.
It's wonderful. They were quite the dynamic duo. Well, good morning. We are having an intimate group today, but I know that there are many different ways for people to connect with us in real time on Zoom, like all of you right now, or on live stream or listening to our replay. So good morning. Welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. And happy Mother's Day, as we've been talking about all morning. Today's the day we honor all the people in our lives who have cared for us or mothered us in some way, in any way, really, regardless of their biological relationship to us or even their gender. Today we honor the divine feminine principle, which is in each of us. However, we also honor the mothers who raised us. So happy Mother's Day to all. So let's take a deep breath and send a silent thank you to our mothers. Just thank you, Mom. And at the end of the service, I'd like to take a few minutes to say our moms' names into the room. I think that's a nice way to honor our mothers as well. And I know we've done that before. And I know that some of us, at least some of the time, have had experiences with mothers that were not always so unconditionally loving. You know, my mother wasn't always perfect, although she was pretty close, I have to say, but she didn't always get it right. Personally, I've fallen short of perfection in my role as mother many times. You know, after all, mothers are human beings, you know, but mothering as a spiritual principle is different than how we as human beings execute that principle in our messy human lives. And we're honoring both today, the divine principle of mothering that exists in potential within us all, and those that have expressed it as motherhood in our lives. You know, it's funny because every Mother's Day, I almost feel at kind of a loss when it comes to honoring our mothers and motherhood in general. You know, I think about my mother, my own mother. I think about myself as a mother. I think about my daughter as a mother. I think about all the mothers everywhere and all the things that motherhood includes. In the many, many ways, all of us show up to the best of our ability as mother. You know, I think about how important it is as divine human beings to be mothered and to mother. And the truth is that it's nearly impossible to kind of distill the meaning and the importance of mothering down to one day, or to catch the magnitude of mothering simply by uttering the phrase, Happy Mother's Day. Oops, my camera is moving. Sorry about that. And you know, another thing is that the most meaningful celebrations of motherhood, I think, are found in everyday moments. You know, they're those impromptu phone calls or texts, you know, some unexpected and thoughtful gesture of gratitude. The most meaningful honoring of motherhood comes from the everyday acknowledgement of the nurturing love and care and givingness of a mother. And of course, I can tell you that as a mother, the phrase Happy Mother's Day is definitely appreciated. We love to hear that. But an unexpected, I love you, Mom, it catches my breath every time. I got an unexpected text from my daughter the other day. It made me cry. It was just so beautiful and meaningful. And these are the moments, these are the reminders of how mothering slips into every area of our lives. Whatever our age and whatever our gender happens to be, we all mother, and we all have a need to be mothered, whoever we are. We spend so much of our time in our human lives as human beings taking care of things in the outer world, taking care of daily business. It's just part of being human. And sometimes we can get lost in the busyness of it all, and certainly mothers have their fair share of these kinds of busy activities. I think of my daughter and how busy she is with the two little boys. But the truth is, there are always opportunities, no matter how busy we are, there are always opportunities for sacred moments in our daily lives, sacred openings in our day when we can see past the limits of just our human eyes and we can catch that light of God break in and shine on us, or we can witness it shining on someone else. I like to think of these as mothering moments as well, when we're being mothered by the generosity of life itself, nurtured and held in those moments of grace, the moments of expression of the divine in our life, of the divine mother, the nurturer. And I don't know a better way to describe these moments than moments of mothering, when we experience or witness unconditional love, care, comfort, seeing the sacredness and enoughness in ourselves or in others or in some situation, to see a full kind of heartfelt expression of love and life. These are the qualities contained within mothering and the idea of the divine feminine. There's something about nurturing something into being that is so unconditionally giving, such an expression of divinity in our human lives. Whatever it is we happen to be nurturing, a person, an animal, a garden, an idea, whatever we nurture from the generosity of the spirit that's within us, that's an expression of the divine feminine principle. When we nurture something, we take it into our metaphorical womb and we give it the space to grow into its potential. That's an expression of motherhood and of celebrating motherhood and an honoring of those small everyday moments of grace that spirit offers to its creation, to all of us all the time, and we can consciously emulate the infinite givingness of spirit, of the divine feminine principle, through our generosity to others, through our expressions of love in the world. And there are so many ways to do that. So many ways to do that. So have you ever planted a seed? I'm sure the answer is yes. Even if it was only that time you sprouted bean seeds in a wet paper towel in elementary school, you probably planted a seed. So I want you to think about what your part in that was. Did you code the DNA sequence in the seed? Did you create the plant that created the flower, that created the seed that you planted? Probably not. That's not your role. But you did create the environment that supported the germination and the growth of the seed, right? So that it could grow into the potential that was already contained within the seed, right? That is mothering. To water, to fertilize, to pull the weeds and create a safe and a nurturing space for your seed, an actual seed or a metaphorical seed. And in this way, we are all mothers. We all mother our own lives. Last week I talked a lot about perspective. Actually, Rob was just talking about perspective to us in the opening, and how the viewpoint of our particular state of consciousness at any given time, at any given moment, plants a seed. You know, I talked about Michael Beckwith's 4 stages of consciousness. Do you remember that? I reminded us that we can see the world around us from so many different perspectives, and we get to choose. We can see it from the perspective of the world is happening to me. Remember, I talked about the victimhood consciousness, or by me, go into action. We start creating things. We realize we're empowered, or through me. We let life flow through us, or as me. Here I am, the I am that Rob was talking about. And the perspective that what we see from is what we create. What we see from is what we create from. It's the seed that we mother into being. So if we think we're a victim of the world in some way, then we plant the seed of our victimhood into the fertile soil of our consciousness. Or we can plant and nurture the seed of our good from a consciousness of empowerment and alignment with God and with God's good. We literally plant the seeds and nurture the thoughts and the feelings we encounter through the lens of our perspective. And we get to choose whatever that is. This is mothering. This is mothering an idea. We do it all day. We do it every day. I am healthy, wealthy, whatever it is that we choose to put our attention on. So let me give you a dramatic example of how the perspective through which we see our world and our experience literally creates a reality. I read this story from a man named Dawson Church that you might recognize that name because he does a lot of tapping, and I know I've done his meditations with you before. But he's a psychologist and he's an author, and he does a lot of work with tapping and trauma patients. Anyway, he tells this story of a 33-year-old woman named Adeline, who was diagnosed with uterine cancer, which had spread throughout her body. And the doctors recommended this grueling treatment of surgery and chemotherapy and radiation. And even, unfortunately, even with that, with very little possibility of her survival. And understandably, she was unwilling to put herself through the ravages of that pretty dramatic treatment. And she decided to make herself as comfortable as possible in her last days. So she took long walks in the redwoods of Northern California, which is where she lived. And she took long baths each day. And she did all of these things, imagining these glittering little healing stars kind of raining down from heaven. And as they passed through her body, whenever she would see a star and it would hit a cancer cell, she would imagine that the cancer cell was popping like a big balloon. And she did this over and over in her walks and her baths. She ate a healthy diet. She meditated daily. She read inspirational books. And she spent a lot of time in solitude with just she and God. And she started to feel better. And after 9 months, which I thought was an interesting amount of time, the amount of gestation, in just 9 months, her doctors could find no trace of cancer in her body. She literally birthed a new body from her thoughts and her feelings and from her perspective. She took this seed of godness and nurtured it and kept it safe and put it into the womb of her being and focused on that. Oh, just love that story. And there's so many stories that we hear like that. I think of what's her name? Anita Marjani, who healed herself. You know, we could probably come across a million of those stories, but they're inspirational to me, and they let me know that it is possible, whatever we put our attention on, to nurture and grow. Last week, I also talked about how in our world, we have thoughts and feelings that move in and out of us all the time, that come from all different kinds of sources, from the news, people we overhear talking on a street corner or wherever, from our well-meaning friends and family, from our ministers, from things we read or we see on social media, from memories that pop up unannounced, from everywhere. And we get to choose from what perspective we want to view these thoughts. We get to choose which ones we want to keep and call our own, and which ones we want to let move right through us and keep on going. We get to choose which of these thoughts we will use as the seeds that we plant and nurture, that we mother into being, into the potential that we know is within us, that we can create in our lives. Adeline could have adopted the option, the opinion of her well-meaning doctors and their diagnosis and their treatment, which was pretty dire. Or she could have done what she did, listen to her own heart, follow her own truth. We get to choose which thoughts and which feelings we will mother today. We get to choose. We are all mothers. We send our thoughts and our feelings into the womb of our subconscious, where eventually they will have no choice but to grow into their full potential. And let it not be lost on us that our lives impact the whole of life. There is only one life. We are all living in it, thinking, feeling, and being in the same life, in the same mind of God. We're intertwined. And so what seeds we plant affect the whole. We are one with all of it. I recently ran across this, what I think is a beautifully written story. Actually, I think he spoke it. You know who Thich Nhat Hanh is? He's the Vietnamese Buddhist monk. He recently made his transition. I think it was about a year or so ago now. But he was speaking to a crowd about how intertwined our lives are and how one mothers another, how one thing in life mothers another thing in life. And he held up a piece of paper and he said, if you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating on this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there would be no rain. Without rain, the trees couldn't grow. Without trees, there would be no paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper could not be here either. And he went on to coin this phrase that he called inter-R, I-N-T-E-R -R-A-R-E, or inter-B, he also used, inter-B, B-E, to describe how everything is interwoven and how one thing nurtures or mothers another. He went on to make the connection to sunlight and the forest and the long list of interconnected things that bind us together and make us whole, and how our individual lives impact the whole of lives. You know, the whole of life in general. When I look at life from that larger perspective, I can't help but be grateful and even awed at the intelligence and the order and the givingness of spirit that has woven it all together. You know, all you got to do is look around on a beautiful sunny day like today and see how everything is intertwined. And it makes me want to consciously do my part to mother the best in myself and to offer that generously to others, which is really mothering them as well. So we mother, we're all mothers, no matter who we are. And because it's Mother's Day, I often do this. I look back on my files to see what it was that I said last year on Mother's Day, not only to get ideas, but I don't want to say the same thing again this year, although sometimes spiritual truths do bear repeating. But what I found was kind of interesting, because last year's official title for Mother's Day from the Home Office, Rob talked about that earlier, was the fear factor. And this year's official title, which he already talked about, was unlearning fear darkness, which I changed to mother and be mothered, because I don't know, it just seemed more celebratory. But I found that the whole idea of this kind of juxtaposition between fear and the nurturing love of motherhood, I found it kind of interesting. And I said this last year too. At first, it seems kind of like a contradiction. But the more I think about it, the more I realize that it's actually kind of perfect. Here we are talking about the ultimate and unconditional love and nurturing expressed as motherhood and the divine feminine. And then in that space, we get to look at our fears and the shadow sides of our lives, you know, from the stability of this divine presence, of this motherly love, if you will. And from that place, we can clearly see the blocks that get in the way of expressing this unconditional love. Roger Teal, who's one of my favorite ministers, he retired a while ago. He was in Mile High Church. He wrote a book called This Life is Joy, which is a wonderful title. But he wrote that if you boil down all the emotions to the most basic level, there's really only two. And we hear this sentiment from other people as well. But the only two are love and fear. And among the many gifts that fear brings us, and Rob, I'm reiterating what you said, that fear is actually a gift. The most profound one is the invitation to return to the love that is in this moment, that is within us. It's just a reminder, and that duality that we live in, sometimes we need these reminders. We live in this human world of duality, and fear can serve us to find our way back to the unconditional love of the mother, the nurturing presence of the divine feminine, which is found in each of us. It's the antidote to fear. It makes fear a tool that can lift us up into that greater yet to be, rather than a sword that cuts us down. The nurturing divine feminine presence, it holds us safely without judgment or blame, and allows us to experience our fears and to look them right in the face and see what they are for who they are. Maybe they're just some gray clouds passing across a blue sky, or an illness, or a lost job, or a lost relationship. But the unconditional love of the divine presence holds us safely in its womb, and it makes it possible for us to move past our challenges, our fears. And fear can show the way for us when it comes down to that. So, and that's, in my opinion, what mothering does. It draws us back into that unconditional love and that safety and comfort, that an unconditional acceptance of who we are just as we are. It's a recognition of our enoughness. It helps us discover our potential, and then it invites us to step into our potential. Mothering feeds our trust and our acceptance of the givingness of life. The givingness of life to itself, God to its creation. And we are both. We are one in this whole cycle of God and creation. So my invitation to you this week is to imagine yourself as a divine mother. You can imagine yourself as a divine father too, but since we're celebrating the divine feminine, imagine yourself as a divine mother, as the planter of seeds, as the planter of ideas and viewpoints and inspirations as they come to you, as you see them in your world. You decide which one you'd like to take into the womb of your subconscious and nurture them into being. What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to feel? What do you want to midwife into your experience? It's up to you. It's up to us. We are empowered by the great mother of all things, the great mother of all things herself, the great Father, Mother, God. We can be bold, we can have fun, and we can nurture our life into being. And I love that about us, how empowered we are through our very divine nature. So let's pray on that. Let's just move into that connection, that acknowledgement that God is all there is, the divine mother, Father, God, that we are a part of, that allows us to take the seeds of what we want to create in our life into the depth of our metaphorical womb and to birth that into being in our lives. And we know that in our connection with the all that is, we are empowered to do, to create, to become, to be bold, to have fun with whatever ideal we choose to put our attention on and to nurture into being. So I'm just so grateful for this. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, to be in community with you, to speak this word, to know together the truth of our being, and to stand in the grace of good itself. So for that, I just release my word, knowing that it is catching fire in law and making its way into experience and expression. So I relax in that, knowing all is well. And together we signify our agreement by saying, and so it is. And so it is. So I wanted to invite us, if we feel like it, to speak. I know that Jean's going to do our sacred giving, but I wondered, I would like to speak my mother's name into the virtual room. So I am grateful for my mother, Lenita Joyce Ingalls. Actually, her maiden name was Stem, which is an odd name, but it was Stem. So thank you, Lenita. Go ahead, anybody.
I will speak my word for my mother, Susie Margaret Josie Cook.
I'll speak mine. My mother was Wilma Alice White.
And I know it's interesting that when Michelle mentioned her mom's name, Lanita had a sort of a way of mothering everybody she ran into. And I've even felt somewhat mothered by Lanita. So hats off to her. Mine was Phyllis Cooper McGregor, who absolutely did the best she could.
Bless you. Who else? Yeah.
I'll speak my word for my mother, Jean Opal Rye.
Oh, love that memory of Opal.
Me
And
too.
my
Here's my
mother,
opal on my finger.
Go ahead, Marcia.
yeah, my mother, I give great thanks and forgiveness to Berna Barron.
And I'm really incredible for Patty Wanda Perkle.
Patty Wanda Perkle. Richard, would you like to speak your mother's name? Oh, you're muted, sweetheart. Richard, you're still muted, honey.
Huh?
We can't hear you. There, now speak it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Lois Irene McFerrin. Rest
Oh,
in peace.
bless us. Bless our mothers. Bless our mothers' mothers. Bless our fathers' mothers. Bless our fathers' mothers' mothers, and all the way down. We bless our lineage of divine motherhood. Thank you. All right, that was fun. I like doing that. All right, Jean.
Yeah, so now's our time for sacred giving, and I think by now everybody has it down. You can either mail your checks or use Venmo, which is pretty handy. And I think that we have a giving affirmation that we can read together.
We did.
Excuse
Can you
me.
see that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Everything flows from the nature of God's good. We receive from this flow. We give from this flow. We give in gratitude and in love. We have faith in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is.
Thank you so much. Woohoo. All right, so Yvonne has
Yes. Monday evening prayer group 6 to 6:20. Please come and join us, and we will all silently pray for one heart, one mind, and anything else that you want to poke in there, you can do that. Tuesday evening, spiritual learning 6 to 7. On Tuesday, the Learning Circle will be discussing chapter 2, which is called Affirming Your Life, of Life Loves You, that was written by Louise Hay and Robert Holden. Actually, most of the writing was actually done by Robert Holden from talking to Louise. And it's really a nice, I really like it. The chapter explores the 10 dots spiritual practice. So to find out what that is, you have to be involved with it.
And if you
need to read it,
I'll send it to you.
yeah, perfect. That's just what I was going to say. Don't forget about unexpected income, because if you forget about it, you won't have any of it, and you won't help yourself and our center out. And I think that's everything I have.
I think so. And next week, I'll just mention this since Abigail's not here. Lots of people are out celebrating their mothers today. next week in the afternoon on Sunday is the Poway Interfaith Team Picnic, which is at Lake Poway. And if you're interested in going to that, it should be fun. You know, there's, you know, it'll be a group of interfaith people. And, you know, in our interfaith team, we have Baha'i, we have Latter-day Saints, we have Hindus, we have Sikhs, we have Muslims, we have people from every imaginable faith. We even have, remember what was that guy's name? Moon? I can't remember what faith that is, but we have everybody. So, and it's always an interesting group and an interesting conversation. So if you're interested in that, let me know. It should be fun. Okay, that's it for me. All right, so let's have Jean, you want to do the benediction, and then we'll have Richard take us out with some music.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. So as I turn within, I become really present to the power of this community, the power of this service, the power of the I am that Rob mentioned. And I'm so incredibly grateful for each and every one here. I'm grateful for the power of our ability to create our lives from that internal seed, and to nurture it and give it the love and nourishment that that if we were a plant, we would get from the sun. So as we each embark upon this week, we can keep in mind the love that we have, the nurturing power that we have for ourselves and for those we come into contact with. And again, I'm so incredibly grateful for this service and for each and every one of you. So in closing, together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Jean. That was beautiful. All right, Richard.
Here's a song that we've done many times called Sacred Love by Daniel Nahmod with a couple of modifications. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, Mom. Sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed peace. Blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace. God, blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, Mom. Sacred love is all that you are.
Sacred love. I thought that really described the divine feminine. So perfect, Richard. Thank you. Wow. So, yeah, that's it for the official part of our meeting today. There we go.